I think I'm more excited about this month in terms of sneaker releases than any other month the entire year. This month is going to be absolutely insane. What's up, everybody? I'm Seth Fowler, and this is Sit or Sell for November 2022. Thanks so much for tuning in today. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. But today's episode is going to be a little bit different than some of the previous Sit or Sell episodes that we've done over the last couple of years. And that's because, unlike previous episodes, I'm actually going to do the entire month in one episode rather than split it up into two. And that's because there are so many crazy releases happening this month, throughout the entire month. I kind of just want to talk about them all at once so you guys know when they're dropping, so you guys can be prepared when these shoes actually end up dropping and you don't miss out on them. There is, of course, a downside to doing this video this way, and that's that sometimes randomly sneaker brands decide to drop crazy shoes out of nowhere and we don't know about those releases until right before they happen. And because of that, there might be some crazy releases lined up from like Jordan brand or Adidas that we literally don't know about. So keep that in mind when you're watching this video, like midway through November. If there's a crazy release that I didn't talk about, it's because as of right now, I just literally don't know about it. With all that said though, let's just dive right into the video and start things off on November 4th. So let's start things off on a weird note with the all black Nike Air Force 1 Fresh. So it's possible with this release, Nike is trying to redeem the image of the all-black Nike Air Force 1 low, because as we all know, it's become kind of a meme in the sneaker community. Who wants to wear all-black Air Force 1s at the moment? Not really anyone, at least not that I know of, at least if you're doing things legally. I'm totally kidding, but there is still that stigma around the all-black Nike Air Force 1 lows, and it seems like Nike knows that, and now they're trying to release a slightly more premium version of the shoe. Apparently, this shoe features much higher quality leather than you find on the standard Air Force 1 lows. It also comes at a much higher price point of $140, and it seems like this is literally exactly what Nike's trying to do, redeem the silhouette, because the last line on the sneakers app for the description of this shoe is, "Now there's really no reason not to rock your triple blacks morning till night 365. So you know what? Gotta give them credit. Nice try. Hopefully it works out for you, but I still have a feeling that this shoe is probably not going to be very popular, and for that reason, I'm giving this shoe a sit. However, I do wish that they would do this to the standard all-white pair. After that, also dropping on the 4th, we've got the women's Nike Dunk High Cinnabar. So this shoe, like the Air Force 1s that we just talked about, is a more premium take on this particular silhouette. It comes with slightly nicer leather that comes in whites, sort of a reddish burnt umber color, and then sort of an orange color. And overall, it is a clean look, and it's nice to see Nike using nicer materials on a very popular silhouette. Unfortunately though, it is a women's only release, so if you're a guy and you have larger feet and you're looking for a more premium feeling Nike Dunk High, you're kind of out of luck, but at the end of the day, I still think the shoe will be popular with women and men alike, and for that reason, I'm giving this shoe a sell. Also coming out on the 4th, we've got the Nike SB Dunk Low Why So Sad. So this shoe is a collaboration with Scottish skateboarder John Rattray and his campaign to raise awareness for mental health, Why So Sad. The shoe comes in tonal blue suedes on the upper, accented by hits of red on the heel and on the toe. Is that a duck? What is that? I can't tell what it is. That's 100% a duck. The shoe also features an embroidered detail of a duck riding a bicycle, which I think is awesome, and I'm assuming is actually the logo or part of the Why So Sad campaign. Overall, it's a very clean sneaker releasing for a great cause, and I definitely think this shoe will end up selling out. Also dropping on the same day, we've got another shoe from the same collaboration. This time around, it's taking place on the Nike SB Bruin High. This time around, the shoe comes in a chocolate brown suede upper, accented by a light blue Nike swoosh and a gum outsole. And of course, you've got that same bird on bicycle logo on the heel of the shoe, as well as a flying bird logo, which I'm assuming was on the other shoe, but I couldn't find any pictures of it. Again, I think it's a great looking shoe for a great cause, and because of that, I definitely think this shoe will end up selling out. Next up is the Trophy Room Air Jordan 7 New Sheriff in Town. So unfortunately, by the time you're watching this video, the raffle for this shoe has already closed. It closed yesterday, and it seems like the shoe is actually dropping tomorrow, at least at the time that this video is going to release. Now that doesn't mean that there isn't going to be a sneakers app release of this shoe. We just don't know if that's happening or when that's going to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did. Unfortunately though, as far as the Trophy Room release, it's already happened. Well, not the release itself, but people winning the raffle for that release. This shoe comes in a style that is very similar to Michael Jordan's iconic Olympic 7s. However, this shoe does feature some Trophy Room details. Honestly, it's a really clean looking sneaker, especially if you love Air Jordan 7s, but knowing Trophy Room releases, I think that this shoe will be incredibly difficult to get, and there's a good chance that a lot of pairs might not even, I shouldn't say that, and for that reason, I'm giving this shoe a sell. And then finally, rounding off November 4th, we've got a release that I've been looking forward to since last year, which is crazy to say about a pair of New Balances, but it's true, and that's the New Balance 990 V6. So this shoe is a follow-up to the wildly popular New Balance 990 V5, and as you can tell from the name of this shoe, is the 6th iteration of that sneaker. And in my opinion, the 990 V6 takes an already great classic silhouette and modernizes it and makes it even cleaner and even more exciting looking. And I've got to say, I will be waiting in line at the New Balance store when this shoe releases because I need a pair of this sneaker. I'm so stoked on it, and hopefully they have a lot of pairs, which I would assume because it is supposed to be a GR release, but New Balance over the last couple years has been incredibly popular, and shoes like this, even if they are GR, tend to move pretty quickly. This launch colorway of the shoe comes in the classic Castle Rock gray look, and honestly is one of my favorite sneaker releases of the entire year. I don't even have the shoe in hand yet, but just looking at it, it's so fire. I know it's understated, but it is so fire, and I cannot wait for some collaborations on this shoe. New Balance, if you're watching this, hit me up. Not that you would, but it'd be cool if you did. But like I was saying, even though this shoe is meant to be a GR release and they probably will restock it a lot in the next couple years, I do think this first wave of the sneaker is going to be very popular, and for that reason, I'm giving this shoe a sell. Moving on to November 8th, we've got the Nike Dunk Low Fruity Pebbles. It's actually crazy to me that they're officially naming this shoe the Fruity Pebbles Nike Dunk Low. I understand that it is actually an official collaboration with the brand, but usually Nike gives the shoe like a dumb name on the sneakers app that's just like the colorway of the shoe, even if it is a collaboration. So it's kind of cool to see it say Nike Dunk Low Fruity Pebbles. Like, that's not a big deal, but it's still pretty cool, at least to me. I don't know if it's cool to you guys. Let me know in the comment section down below. The shoe comes in a white, red, blue, and yellow leather upper, which looks incredible. And of course, you've got Fruity Pebble detailing printed onto the insole. Also, something else that I'm just noticing right now is that they actually have the Fruity Pebbles logo replacing the Nike logo on the tongue, which I think is really cool. And actually, the more that I look at it, I think the outsole of the shoe is supposed to be milk, which is super cool. Oh, hold up, there's actually a LeBron logo on the heel. So it seems like this is a collaboration between LeBron, Fruity Pebbles, and Nike, which is super cool. Not the first time they've done this. There has been LeBron Fruity Pebbles shoes before, but this is the first time that they've done it on a silhouette like the Nike Dunk Low, which is actually mad cool. Oh, that's crazy. The laces also have Fruity Pebbles printed on them. That's crazy. I love that. I love this shoe. I didn't think I was gonna like it this much, but the more I look at it and see all the little details, it's crazy. I really dig it. Unfortunately, knowing Nike Dunk Lows, especially collaboration Nike Dunk Lows, this shoe will be incredibly popular and probably very difficult to get. And for that reason, I'm giving this shoe a sell. Also dropping on November 8th, we've got the Air Jordan 1 Low Voodoo. So this shoe was designed in collaboration with NBA athlete Zion Williamson and was supposed to release, I believe, alongside his Air Jordan 37 Voodoo, but that didn't happen, so now the shoe is releasing like a month or two later. And the idea behind this collaboration is that this shoe is supposed to be inspired by New Orleans and their whole, I guess, voodoo aesthetic. I know nothing about New Orleans at all. I probably have no right talking about this shoe, but it's a cool looking sneaker. I love the materials used on this shoe. You've got canvases, you've got crazy stitching details. I love the tonal browns and greens. It's a great looking sneaker, and I think overall it's one of the best Air Jordan 1 Low collaborations to drop in a very long time. In fact, creativity wise, I actually think this is a lot more creative and more interesting than the Travis Scott 1 Lows. Regardless, it's a great looking shoe, and I will absolutely be trying to grab a pair of these when they officially release, but most likely it'll be very difficult to grab, and this shoe will probably sell out very quickly. Moving on to November 8th, we've got Social Status's second collaboration with Nike on the Nike Air Penny 2 in this white and blue colorway. Once again, big thank you to Social Status for sending this pair over. It's absolutely fire. I like the black pair that they sent as well, but this one is actually almost perfect for the Phillies colors. I really love the way the sneaker looks. Obviously, it's a great collaboration. The black pair was also a really great collaboration. I think they picked a great silhouette and a good color scheme as well. Now, I was surprised to see that the black and blue colorway didn't actually end up selling out on the sneakers app. I really thought that it would, especially based on resale prices of the shoe before the sneaker released, but I was wrong, and you guys let me know in the comment section of the last video. So for this shoe, I'm going to adjust what I was originally thinking about this shoe and say that it's probably going to end up sitting on shelves. However, I do think that this is a genuinely incredible sneaker. I absolutely plan on rocking this sneaker tonight for the World Series. I'm not going, I just think it's a great colorway and it matches the Phillies jerseys, and it's just a great all-around sneaker. I think Social Status knocked this shoe out of the park, but again, I do think that this shoe will probably end up sitting. Also dropping on November 10th, we've got the Air Jordan 9 NRG in military brown Legion green. This is actually another shoe that I got wrong in the last video. I said that the last winterized Air Jordan 9 would end up sitting on shelves, and turns out it's sold out. And I was going to say the same thing about this shoe, but seeing what happened last time, I think I'm going to have to give this shoe a sell. It's still a winterized Air Jordan 9. In my opinion, it's not that great. I think I prefer this colorway because it's got a little bit more going on. Like, I like the browns and I like the greens, but at the end of the day, I'm not a big winterized Air Jordan fan. And for that reason, like I said before, I would have given this shoe a sit, but seeing what we saw last time, I have to give this shoe a sell. Then moving on to November 11th, we've got the very fitting women's Air Jordan 11 in Midnight Navy. So this shoe actually did already shock drop on the sneakers app, at least in a very limited quantity, and it's a shoe that I think while some people might really like this shoe, is not going to be that popular. I mean, it's crazy to think, but the Air Jordan 11 once was one of the most popular, if not the most popular Air Jordan retro silhouette. But over time, things have kind of shifted a little bit, and now it's the Air Jordan 4 and the Air Jordan 1. And while the Air Jordan 11 is still considered to be one of the best Air Jordan silhouettes, it just doesn't move the way that it used to. And I think in the past, any colorway that you put on the Air Jordan 11s would have immediately sold out. But now with this shoe not being as popular as it used to be, I think some of these newer colorways that aren't like the main holiday release will end up probably sitting, and I think that's going to be the case for this shoe. And I think unless this shoe is insanely limited, this Midnight Navy women's Air Jordan 11 will probably end up sitting on shelves. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad looking sneaker. I think this color is great, and I think the suede that they used on the upper of the shoe also looks pretty good, but again, I just don't think people are that hyped on it, and again, I have to give this shoe a sit. Then rounding off the 11th with a classic, we've got the Nike Air Max 97 Silver Bullet. So as some of you may know, the Silver Bullet Air Max 97s, and I guess just the silhouette of the Air Max 97 in general, was inspired by the Japanese bullet trains. And this colorway in particular absolutely draws inspiration from those trains. The entire upper of the shoe comes in this really clean metallic silver, accented by blacks and reds on the outsole and on the upper of the shoe. The Air Max 97 has always been one of my favorite Air Maxes. I just love the paneling on the side of the shoe, that sort of wavy pattern. I think it looks great, and this is one of those sneakers that every time it comes around, I usually at least try and grab a pair. And while this shoe should be pretty readily available, I do think there's a lot of hype around this release. A lot of people are excited about the return of this classic, and for that reason, I think these Air Max 97s might actually end up selling out. Continuing on to November 12th, we've got the Nike Air Force 1 Low Houston. Now obviously at the moment I'm not the biggest Houston fan, but I do have to say that this shoe is pretty clean. The upper of this shoe comes in black, accented by sort of a suede or velvet on the midfoot panel of the shoe. You've also got this really nice metallic silver Nike swoosh, as well as a bright red outsole and velvet sock liner. It's honestly a pretty clean shoe, and one that I think a lot of people will like, especially if they're from Houston, but I don't know if it has that mass appeal that I think sneaker releases like this should have in order to sell out. And for that reason, I think while this shoe will sell very well in Houston, I think overall this shoe might end up sitting on shelves. Also dropping on November 12th, we've got the Eastside Golf Air Jordan 1 Low. So this collaboration delivers a much more subtle take on the Air Jordan 1 Low. It features a midnight navy nubuck on the upper, accented by the Eastside Golf and a golfing logo on the heel of the shoe. It also doesn't even feature that golf tread on the outside of the shoe, which I think some people who are golfers really like because they can wear a standard looking pair of shoes to golf, but I think for normal people like myself who don't golf, having that tread on a pair of shoes that I want to wear every day is kind of frustrating. So I think the fact that this shoe doesn't have that special golf outsole means that this shoe will be, I guess, more popular with the regular public. Now the shoe itself isn't bad. It's actually a very clean looking Air Jordan 1 Low. It features a very nice colorway, and I love the gum outsole, but it's just not that exciting. And even though it is a collaboration, I just don't know if the hype is there for this shoe. So for that reason, I'm giving this shoe a sit. Another shoe dropping from that same collaboration on the same day is the Eastside Golf Air Jordan 12. Now where I think this shoe might be more popular than the Air Jordan 1 is that the design of this shoe is a lot more unique. The upper of the sneaker comes in this really nice sort of tan or cream color, accented by this sort of muddy red brown on the mudguard and on the outsole, and actually splattering up onto the heel of the shoe. It's honestly a very unique looking pair of Air Jordan 12s, and while it's not a pair that I'm personally excited for, I know there's a lot of people out there who are probably stoked on this shoe, like maybe Cousteau, because it shows that they love golf, it shows that they love the sport, and it features a little bit of an extra accent on the heel of the shoe while still remaining a shoe that you can wear every day no matter where you're at. And I've also got to say that the colorway used on this shoe is very, very clean. I love that cream matched with that brown. It looks great together, and I definitely think this is a shoe that will end up selling out. And then finally rounding off November 12th, we've got the Air Jordan 6 Black Chrome. I've got to say, this shoe is incredibly clean. This is a pretty much entirely black Air Jordan 6 with these beautiful silver or chrome details in the midsole. Now, I'm not usually the biggest Air Jordan 6 fan. I think it's a great looking sneaker, but this subtle, clean look is just so clean, especially with that icy blue outsole and the suede upper. Man, they really knocked it out of the park with this shoe. This is absolutely one of those Air Jordan colorways that you can wear with pretty much anything, and those tend to be the most successful because those shoes are just super easy to rock, and while it might be a pretty wide release of this shoe, I think the hype is there for that release, and I think a lot of people are going to try and grab these shoes. I mean, it's just so clean. It's such a popular colorway, and for that reason, I definitely think this shoe will end up selling out. Moving on to November 16th, we've got the Nike Air Max Penny 1 in the rattan colorway. So it seems like Nike is really pushing the Nike Air Max Penny silhouette, which I'm happy about because I really love the shoe, and it's nice to see that we're getting both the 1s and the 2s back in force, which I love. This time around, it seems like Nike is bringing back the silhouette in a tonal tan, black, and white makeup, which I actually think suits the shoe really well. According to the Sneakers app, the actual cut of this Nike Air Max Penny 1 is almost exactly the same as the original, which again, I love that Nike is doing. I love that they're taking the original shoes and basically remaking them to the original spec, and it's nice to see that not only are they doing that, but they're adding new colorways to these shoes. And again, this colorway is fire, and if you're a fan of the Nike Air Max Penny, this is a shoe that I'm sure you'll want to grab. Now, even though this is a classic sneaker, which I'm sure is nostalgic for a lot of people, I don't know if the hype is there for this release, and for that reason, while I think it will sell probably pretty well, I just don't see this shoe selling out, and for that reason, I'm giving this shoe a sit. But then we get to November 19th, a day that most sneakerheads have been waiting for since the beginning of the year, a day that I think genuinely might explode the sneaker market, and that of course is because of the release of the upcoming Air Jordan 1 Lost and Found. So as many of you may know, I've already done a full review on the Air Jordan 1 Lost and Found, and if you guys want to check it out, there will be a link at the top of the screen and probably in the description below, but this is genuinely my sneaker of the year. I know it's just a Jordan retro, but all of the details that were put into this shoe and all of the things that were done right on this shoe really make this one of the best Air Jordan 1 retros, in my opinion, in years, possibly ever. This shoe is truly incredible for a lot of different reasons. First off, obviously this shoe is a retro of the incredibly popular Air Jordan 1 Chicago, which exploded in popularity once again back in 2020 with the Last Dance documentary. But one of the reasons this shoe is so exciting is because the story behind this shoe isn't just the fact that it's a Chicago Air Jordan 1, but Jordan Brand decided to theme this release as if this shoe was lost in storage for the last 30 years and was finally found in the basement of some mom and pop shop. So it's sort of an homage to mom and pop shops, even though Nike and Jordan Brand are sort of trying to cut them out. Super ironic. But regardless, I think it's an incredible shoe. The materials used on this shoe, at least on the white panels, are cracked leather designed to look like super old, aged leather. Same thing on this black panel towards the top of the ankle. The red leather is super saturated, which I love. You've got this sort of cream colored midsole, again, to look aged, as well as a lightly marbled outsole, again, designed to look aged. But it's not just all of those details that make this shoe special, it's also the packaging, the fact that Jordan Brand decided to make even the packaging fit within the theme. The top of the box is designed to look mismatched. You've got this special old school receipt in the box. Everything about this package just makes it such a special release. Not only that, Jordan Brand apparently is also releasing a bunch of pairs of these, like 500,000 pairs of these, which is crazy to me. I still don't quite believe it, but a lot of people are reporting it, so hey, maybe it is true, which is kind of crazy. And I think even with that many pairs being released, this shoe is still going to be the hottest shoe of the year, a shoe that everyone wants to grab, and it will absolutely sell out, like no question in my mind. And seriously, not to hype the shoe up more than it already is, but genuinely, in my opinion, sneaker of the year, incredible shoe, and it's definitely worth going for. But again, it will definitely sell out and sell out almost instantly. Moving on to November 23rd, we've got the New Balance 990 V2 Teddy Santis in cream and blue. So over the last year or two, Teddy Santis has been absolutely making his mark at New Balance, releasing some of the best 990 colorways that we've ever seen. And this colorway in particular is one of the cleanest. The shoe comes in primarily a cream upper accented by blues and whites, and overall is a very easy to rock shoe. Obviously, with the release of the new 990 V6, New Balance is trying to continue the momentum with some of their older but still popular silhouettes like the 990 V2. And in this blue and cream colorway, I think a lot of people are going to be into it. Now initially, when these collaborations, or I guess new colorways of some of these popular silhouettes started to release, these shoes would sell out immediately. However, as we've gotten more and more of these colorways from Teddy Santis, I feel like the hype has worn off a little bit, and while I think this 990 V2 is incredibly clean, I feel like this might be one of those shoes that ends up sitting on shelves. It'll still sell, but just not that quickly, and so for that reason, I'm giving this shoe a sit. Also releasing on the same day, we've got another shoe from the same collection, the Teddy Santis New Balance 990 V3s. The colorway of this shoe is pretty much the same of the colorway on the 990 V2. Obviously, this time around, it's on a slightly newer silhouette, the 990 V3, and I think overall the 990 V3 is a more popular silhouette than the 990 V2. And I actually think out of all the 990 V3s that have released recently, this might be one of the most popular. It's just a very wearable colorway on a very comfortable and popular shoe, and because of that, while I think the 990 V2s might not sell out immediately, I think the 990 V3s do actually have a chance to do that. So for that reason, I'm giving these shoes a sell. And then rounding off the 23rd is another incredibly hyped up and sought after release, and that's the Air Jordan 4 Alma Maniere. So the colorway of this shoe is officially called Violet Ore, and that's because the colorway is sort of this washed out purple color, which is actually super clean. Material wise, the upper of this shoe comes in a nubuck accented by this really cool sort of metallic circle towards the heel of the shoe. Not sure exactly what the significance of that detail is, but I actually think it looks really nice. And of course, you've got a quilted sock liner just like all of the other Alma Maniere collaborations. The overall look is rounded off by a black midsole and a cream colored outsole, and while it is definitely a more understated look than some of the previous Alma Maniere collabs, I definitely think it's one of the cleanest. And of course, Air Jordan 4s are about as popular now as they've ever been, and I think this might be one of the most sought after releases for the entire year. And of course, being an Alma Maniere collaboration on an incredibly popular Jordan silhouette, I absolutely think this shoe will end up selling out. Then moving on to November 26th, we've got the Air Jordan 1 Gorge Green. So this shoe sort of has that co.jp vibe. It's got a silver metallic Nike swoosh, it's got this beautiful green on the overlays of the sneaker that come in a nubuck material similar to the co.jps, and then of course you've got a white tumbled leather finishing off the upper. It's genuinely a very clean and very wearable sneaker, especially if you like green or Air Jordan 1s. Personally, I don't love metallic Nike swooshes on Jordan 1s. I don't know why that is. So this is not really a shoe that I want to be going for, just because I just don't need any more pairs of Jordan 1s, to be honest with you. Although I love the silhouette, it's just not that exciting of a release, and I think for that reason, this shoe might actually end up sitting on shelves, which is crazy to say about Air Jordan 1s, but they're just not as popular as they used to be. And so for that reason, I'm giving this shoe a sit. I mean, even if it somehow ends up selling out in the sneakers app, it's going to be sitting in stores somewhere. I mean, it's going for less than retail on StockX, so I really feel like the shoe is going to sit. And then finally, rounding off today's video with the last release, which is also one of the biggest releases of the year, and that's the DJ Khaled Air Jordan 5 Crimson Bliss. Now it's crazy because as I was filming this video, they released this shoe on the sneakers app. Now I think it's a very small limited release, like an early access to this shoe, so that's not the official release of the sneaker, so I think it will still be releasing on November 28th. However, technically this shoe has already released. That being said, the shoe is still pretty clean. It comes as part of a pack. I'm not sure exactly when the other colorways from the pack will release. I'm not sure if it's going to be on the same day or on a different day. Just who knows at this point. But either way, the pack is inspired by Miami, and that's why a lot of the colorways of this shoe come in like tonal oranges, purples, and greens and things like that. The upper of this shoe comes in this really nice sort of salmon orange colored nubuck, which I actually think is pretty clean. You've got a metallic silver tongue and of course blue accents on the shark teeth and a milky outsole. It's honestly one of the most unique Air Jordan 5 colorways out there. I've never seen an Air Jordan 5 that looks exactly like this. In addition to the crazy colorway of this shoe, you've also got "We the Best" embroidered into the heel, which honestly leaves no doubt as to who this shoe is a collaboration with. I've got to say that one of my favorite details on the shoe is the blue quilted sock liner. I know it's not that exciting of a detail, and I know a lot of other collaborations, even ones in this video, feature a quilted sock liner, but for whatever reason, in that color, accented against this sort of like salmon orange color, it just looks really clean. Definitely an interesting colorway that I think will leave people divided. Some people might love it because it's a DJ Khaled shoe, some people might just like it because of the colorway, and other people might hate it because of the colorway. I feel like it's kind of in a weird spot because you don't often get like salmon orange colored sneakers, but I dig it. I'm actually really into it. And of course, as I'm sure you're expecting, this shoe will absolutely sell out. But hey, that pretty much wraps up the entire video for today. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.